it's Kendra, and welcome to Hooked by Happenstance Makes Monday, episode number 13, Powerless. Why Powerless? Because right now, on Monday, August 21st, in the evening, my power is out. Wah wah. And that is going to make it difficult to film this podcast because I can't turn the lights on in my house. And quaint as it seems to film it by the oil lamp, which is what we will be lighting our house by this evening, I just don't think that's gonna be the best solution. Also, I neglected to plug in the battery for my camera beforehand, and yeah, since the power's out, it's obviously not charging, so I don't know how much of this I can film. Yeah. So we're going to try and get through the things that we can in this beautiful twilight while it exists. I was going to try all the things on for you, but instead we're just going to hold them up and give you an idea. So we're going to begin with what is off my hook, and I'm just going to heap it on myself because it rained, so the ground around me is damp. But you know what? You do what you gotta do. So the first thing that I finished was this week's We Hook Wednesday pouch, number 12. This is the one that goes with the standard overview version. It is made in lavender. And then this one is made in soft gray heather. I believe this is Vanna's Choice. The lavender one is Red Heart Super Saver, and this is from the Stitch by Stitch version because I now have 2 series of We Hook Wednesday videos coming out. One that shows you the overview of how to make the pocket, and if you would just like to read the written instructions or merely just want to see what the pockets are about and you're not sure making them, that is where to look. And there is also a Stitch by Stitch which will show you the samplery bit in much more detail. Next thing off the heap is my Danielle sweater by Pam Dajic. Her store is called Sincerely Pam. I have not woven in the ends. This is made out of Bernat bamboo. Stand back here so you can see the whole thing. I followed the pattern as written, except I changed the sleeves. The sleeves did not use the same body pattern, and I just continued the body pattern down the sleeves. I also made the sleeves a little wider because apparently my arms are a bit chunkier than the pattern was written for, but that's all right. And on the bottom, instead of just doing like a finishing row, I did one whole repeat of the pattern along the bottom because I thought it made it look more finished and also added a wee bit of length, which I enjoyed. So you will get to see that on me once it is cooler. And I weave in all these ends, which I just need to sit down sometime. You'll see there's ends on everything this week. I'm gonna sit down, watch a movie sometime this next week, and weave in all my ends. But I'm still considering them done because, my goodness, I have gone through a lot of yarn and done a lot of stitches. So we're just gonna call that good enough. And then I'm gonna weave in the ends. The next thing I completed was my Simple V-Stitch baby blanket made out of Premier Yarn Sweet Rolls. This is 3 sweet rolls. Well, it's like 2.5. I would have used a full 3, but I had some color management issues because of the way the sweet rolls were made. As you can see, this one dark stripe is slightly smaller than the other dark stripes, and that was even with some futzing. There was some yarn that was not quite the appropriate thickness, so that caused some issues with my striping, but I don't think it really takes away from the finished product. It was just a little annoying to the process. This is my own pattern and will be the tutorial for this week, which, if my power stays out, might not come out until later in the week. You might get a tutorial on a Thursday. We'll see. But there it is. I'm very happy with the colors. I really do like this color of the sweet rolls, but again, I was very frustrated with the color progression and the fact there was that yarn that had some issues, which then threw off the color progression. That is the danger with using the progressive color yarns. If there's any problems in the whole thing, it throws off the mathing, which is so important to how striped yarn is made. And if you throw off the mathing, it just doesn't do what it's supposed to. And the final thing I completed, this was my black mystery yarn thing. I'll stand back here. It's a dress. It was just going to be a top. I have no clue what these yarns are because they were from the mill end, like 1-pound bags from Joann's. The black, I don't know if it was supposed to be a 3-ply that had sequins through it or a single ply. It came with a bunch of balls, you know, in the bag, and the first couple were all plied with 3 plies of yarn, so they were bulky. And then the last one I want to pull out was just a single, which I then plied to make it a 3-ply. So I did the whole thing as a bulky, but I don't really know. I used a size N hook. So here we are again. Time has passed like 6-ish hours. My power came back on after about 2-ish hours of being off, but then, you know, there was life to deal with. I had thought about just starting from the beginning, but I decided there was something kind of charming about what I had recorded earlier. I haven't watched any of it. I'm just deciding that it's charming because I don't really want to start over, and I want you to enjoy the beautiful view of my yard, and now you can enjoy the beautiful view of my messy office. These are here because of my craft show that I had last weekend, and I have one coming up like next weekend, so I figured I would just leave them out because when they go away, they have to go like away. And then my shelves are just full of assorted things because I had to make sure everything was like up off the flat surfaces when I went to California, because otherwise the cats would attack them. So I made sure that everything was like up, which now means everything's a little bit messy, but that's all right. So we're going to go back a step. I recognize this is extremely like scattered tonight. It goes with the theme of being powerless, right? So, on to the idea of me being powerless. I was thinking about it in the shower when I decided I should put on my dress so that you could see it in all of its beauty. Well, you can't see the bottom of it, but just believe me, it's got a skirt down here, and the skirt looks nice, and it's comfy. But, on to the idea of being powerless. I did not make a Makes Monday video last Monday, and that was because when I arrived home, despite my best efforts to have everything set up so I could have a video every day in August on this channel, I got home to no internet. And it took several days for that to be rectified, so that like threw a little bit of a wrench into things, and then like another wrench just now because the power went out, and so like I didn't have cats knocking things over. See, powerless. I have no control over the tiny things that live in my house, be they pets or children, which is also why it took me so long to re-record this end bit, because everyone just was a little squirrely today. We'll blame the eclipse because it's a convenient excuse, but I think it's just that, you know, they're kids. As you can see, I've put on my dress. I'm going to give you a few more details. It's got some additional cat fur. That is part of its charm, so to speak. That is because it was laying on my desk and my cat chose to take a little nap on it. So clearly it's very, very comfortable. But I made this out of some mystery middle end yarn from Joann's. I made it out of 2 bags because the black sparkly things all came in 1 bag, and the gray kind of marled one that I used to fill in the neckline. Then realized the bottom wasn't as long as I wanted. I want to make just like a bottom strip to like make some like, I wasn't going to make ribbing, I was just going to make it long enough to make it like come down to my waist where I liked, and then I was like, ooh, when I tried it on, thought I'd like that as a skirt. So now it is a skirt, and it goes down to about my knees. And I used up all of the yarn that was in that second mystery bag. So each of those bags was on sale for $3.99 when I got it. So that's $8 in yarn, plus I had a 20% off your entire purchase coupon. So I spent like less than $7 on this dress, which I could not buy a dress like this for that much, so I'm pretty excited about it. Anyways, that is that about the dress. That is it for things that I have off my hook. Now let's talk about what is on my hook. One thing that I worked on a bunch, the reason the things that are done is because I worked on the Afghan and the sweater while I was visiting my parents in California, so I got a lot of work done on those. And then the dress I have been working on since I have been home. So that's kind of where the bulk of my time has gone. But when I was on the train coming back from California, I worked a bunch on this, which is my Clarice top. It is a pattern by Kim Guzman, I believe. It'll have all the info on the screen for you. But it is also made out of mystery yarn from Joann's, so I do not know what this is either, but it's delightful is what it is. And so as you can see, when I left for California, I had done the bodice part, and I was just starting to do the shell section that comes down. I had just done the first round. So I did most of this on the train ride from San Luis Obispo to Sacramento while I was listening to Stargirl, which you can hear more about if you listen to my Yarn Tales video, which will be linked on the end screen. So this is what it looks like. I think it's going to fit nice. I've tried it on. I do like working top down on sweater and top type things because I can make sure they are going to fit my bust as they're going along. That is one nice thing about working things that are worked like in the round, or at least in like one piece-ish as opposed to having to piece it at the end where you're like, hope it all works, and sometimes it doesn't. So I am still working on the Clarice, but I have not put a lot of energy into it in the last couple of days, but I will continue on that. And then I had a craft show on Saturday in my fair little town, and while I was there I worked on making this wrap, which I played around with a bunch of things. Right now I'm just working edging. I'm working it horizontally, like more like a blankety bit. See, it'll wrap around you like this and be oh so pleasant, because this is made out of burlap bamboo, which is like super soft and has a nice like silky feel, even if, you know, it's basically acrylic, but they make the acrylic out of bamboo, right? So I worked on that, and I tried a number of things, and I couldn't find, the problem is I see this wrap in my head, and what I see in my head is not necessarily what it's starting to be what's coming out in the yarn, but it was not initially. So it has gone through much like crocheting and frogging. Like I think I put 2 50-gram skeins into it and then frogged them all out and started over, and I don't know, that's what I spent my day doing when I was at the craft show, so it wasn't like I had anything else to be doing, so I might as well get it right. Then, to reward myself for doing a craft show, I always like to do a bit of celebratory personal crafting, so I decided to start a new sweater for myself. So the new sweater that I started, I am trying to work in reverse through my yarn stash, which is why the burlap bamboo, I'm trying to get all out of stash. I've used a ton of it for that sweater, hoping to use the majority of the rest of it, if not all of it, for this wrap. I just, you know, I want to get out with the old and with the new, right? So I have more space for more things, and as my taste has changed, you know, I'd like to sort through those things. The second yarn, as far as age in my stash, is a case that I had bought also from the E-Tent through what is now Yarnspirations, Spin Right Yarns, whatever. I had a case of Bernat Mosaic in this color. It is the Optimistic colorway. It has been discontinued. The yarn is beautiful, but it's kind of eh. I've made a number of things. There is one kid's hat pattern. I can speak. There's one kid's hat pattern, it's called the Delaney, that I really have enjoyed making out of this pattern. I've made them for all of my kids, and I even gifted them to one of my fair viewers, but I haven't found many other things that I really like it made into. Like, I've made things and frogged them, I've made things and not finished them. I'm sure that in Freaker Frogs we're going to find more of that Bernat Mosaic in there. But anyways, I am really, really finally liking something I've made out of it. And I am working on this sweater for myself. It's called the Square Deal Sweater. It is a free pattern from Red Heart Yarn, and I think it is going to turn out really, really nice. It basically just has this like square motif on the front and the back, and then there's like a necky bit and army bits and, you know, a little bit around the waist. So, you know, how sweaters are made. But I think it's going to be very fun, and I'm really enjoying working with it. I am using a K-hook with this yarn, and it is a single that has a weird amount of twist to it, regardless of if I pull from the outside of the ball, pull from the inside of the ball. It's got a little too much like energy in it, so I don't know. It is what it is, and I'm going to be glad when it's used up, and hopefully used up in something I will really like and enjoy, because I really love the way the yarn looks. I just have yet to find something I really like the way it looks in, and this, I think, is the answer. So the next thing we're going to discuss are my strung out projects. I actually have worked on my scrap stash blanket, which should be of interest to some of you because I have been asked several questions about this blanket recently. It is a blanket that I am making. This is an old, this one is already done. I keep one of these in the box. It's got a plastic little box here with all my little bits in it. And I use it to measure the new one against. I am aiming for a 60-ish by 80-ish inch blanket. So these strips are 60 inches and they're approximately 5 inches wide. They are made on a G-hook and it is 20 stitches across. I begin with 20 foundation single crochets and then I half double crochet the rest of it. The reason I'm doing the end in a different stitch is because then I can tell which is the end I started from, so it will help me when I put it together. I haven't decided if I'm going to line all of those up along one of the edges or if I'm going to alternate them so that the stitches don't actually exactly line up. I haven't quite decided. So this is the first one that I finished, I had already done this section and like to here on the purple, and I did all of this and this and this and this and this. Most of it is Red Heart Super Saver with the exception of this, which is Red Heart with Love. So that is another strip done. So I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is strip number 6 completed. I think I'm going to need 16 strips to get to what I'm looking for. And I am working on strip number 7. I have not cut my ends. What I'm doing also is I just crochet the ends in as I go, and then there's like little bits. I make sure that I can finish a row with a color. If I can't, then there will be like a long end hanging off, which I then crochet the rest in, and then I will just clip these off. I know I'm wasting ends, but I think that the overall look of the blanket will be worth it, and I'm using up a lot of scraps, so I'm not too mad about it, you know? So here is how far I'm about halfway through strip number 7, and I have this box of yarn left, and then hopefully I just keep adding to it with more scraps from more things. But my box had gotten to be completely full, so I really needed to put some energy into it to work it down, because I'm kind of trying to keep my small balls to fitting into this little container, little-ish container. That way it doesn't get too out of hand. So that is everything that I have been working on this week. Actually, I started a new project in between the filmings of this video, but you'll just have to wait and see that later. Also, I just want to let you know that I did increase my stash by just a wee bit of yarn, and I have a clip right here of the parts that I purchased. So I have just a wee bit of yarn to show you. As you may remember, a few weeks ago, they had a bunch of yarn that was on super good sale, clearancing out at my Walmart. Because they've done a yarn reset, they added their own yarn, their own Walmart mainstay line of cheap yarn. I don't know. It is what it is. But that means that they are clearancing out a bunch of the things that they were previously carrying at my Walmart. I, however, abstained from purchasing anything because I was doing a no-buy July. But guess what, people? It's August, and they still had some yarn. So I got a few things, but I tried to restrain myself. Each ball that I got was only $1.50, and they were all usually at least $3.47 or more per skein. So I figured $1.50 was a good deal. So I got 3 skeins of this Red Heart with Love in the color Chocolate, which is just like a really nice, rich, dark chocolate color. Very much like what like a Hershey bar looks like on the inside. So almost that like blackish brown. And I thought this might make a good like sweater or something of that nature. So I thought that the 3 skeins was worth it, especially if I could get a top or the majority of a top for $4.50. That just seemed like a good deal to me. So I picked those up. I also got this skein of With Love in the color Mango because it made my heart squee when I saw it the other day and I didn't buy it. And I wanted it. So this was my I wanted it purchase. I got these 2 skeins of With Love Metallic in the colorway White because I find they make for, there's that white metallic. Instead of, some metallics have like the silver thread around the white. Well, this is a white metal thread around the white yarn. And I really like this for like wintry holiday projects. I think it makes nice looking snow and just that bit of white sparkle to some of those things. So I do occasionally buy this when I need a metallic anyways. So I just thought I would buy the 2 skeins they had because I'm going to buy more of it eventually anyways. So we'll just set it in stash. Because I think I have 1 skein, but it's already been cracked into to get me through the winter. So this will help. And then I also got 2 skeins of Karen Simply Soft Party in the colorway Chocolate Sparkle, which is this, it's very much like a gray taupe color with, it's more like a gold, but like a goldish silver metallic thread wrapped in. And I just thought this was very like classy. And I might be able to make like a shawl or something, or like a cowl. It had options. So I thought all of these were good kind of mix in with things I already have and would be very usable for me. I do like the Red Heart with Love. It's very pleasant to work with and it washes really nice. So I'm happy with all of those. Also, I was gifted a wee bit of yarn when I was in California. An entire suitcase full. If you'd like to see the suitcase full of yarn, it is on the daily vlogs. But I did a whole video where I went through all of that and it discussed all the different things that I was gifted by my lovely yarn fairy in California, and that will be linked on the end screen for you as well. So if you'd like to see all of the things that are getting added to my stash, check that out. But I have, I think, done a good deal of getting things out of my stash, and I am consistently working at that. So that is where we are as far as stash enhancement. I hate that term. I hope that you all had a good week. Sorry that Vita is turning out to be a big fat fail, but I'm hopeful that maybe next month it will become more of a daily thing, because I really would ultimately like to have daily content on this channel. I think I have the content to do it, just need to make it all work in my life. So I'm home now, at least for a while, and so long as the power keeps going and I can keep feeling all right, because I also felt a little sick last week, then yeah, we should be able to keep churning things out. If you have any ideas or things you particularly are enjoying on the channel, let me know. I know people seem to be liking the Yarn Tales shawl. I have some other ideas for projects that are inspired by things and kind of go along like section by section with that inspiration, which I think might be a thing in the future. Also, people enjoy Freaker Frogs. That will continue. I have a whole lot of whips, so there's a lot of things that are going to be freaked out about or frogged, and this week I'm actually going to focus on finishing a bunch of the things that are on that freak out list. So I'm going to try and finish things that are in process, work on my sweater, a little bit on my top, and finish that project that I have sitting on my desk right now. And I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!